Hello, Ann Coulter. Good to have you with us. What did you think of the Donald and the way in which he constructed his positions?
Oh my gosh, he's fantastic. I love him more every time he talks, though I did think it took you a while to get to the seminal issue of our day, immigration. But I was noticing in his interview last night on Hannity, there were a few nitpickers afterwards making that point about how Planned Parenthood, well, yeah, okay, they'll take the
You mean like
federal
nitpickers who question where I put the position of illegal immigration?
Oh, not nitpicking you, nitpicking. No, that's a very important issue. That is not picking nits. No, nitpicking Donald Trump's position on Planned Parenthood, pointing out that Planned Parenthood does other things. But, you know, Trump has been busy making $11 billion. He hasn't been following all the different ways Planned Parenthood and the pro-abortion types figure out to get around any kind of restriction on abortion. And he had totally the right answer in under 24 hours.
Right.
And it was beautiful. If they're still performing abortions, I wouldn't give them money. But I have to say that pales in comparison to the most important issue. You know, I trust how Americans will vote. I just want to make sure it's Americans voting and they're not being outvoted by foreigners. That's why immigration is the most important issue, and I'm sure all the other issues will work themselves out as long as we control immigration. I would throw in
his views. He was straightforward as he can be. He's pro-life.
Yeah, and guns, and quite believably.
He supports gay marriage. His preference is that it be a states' right issue decided at the state level. The Supreme Court has done the deciding. He has been.
I didn't hear him say he supports gay marriage.
Well, if you listen to
what he said was he wants the states to decide.
Yes, but that's been decided, and it's been decided by the Supreme Court.
That's a fact.
And that's a fact. Therefore, we turn to Obamacare, the only other open subject, really, amongst the so-called wedge issues. He says he wants it repealed. He couldn't be more straightforward. That in and of itself is refreshing, don't you think?
Yes, and not only that, I would add, I thought his answer was fantastic at the debate the other night. He goes straight to the heart of the matter. Let us buy insurance across state lines. He understands because he is a businessman, and the fact that I think it was Rand Paul didn't understand what he was saying suggests to me that some of these politicians are spending too much time reading policy papers and don't understand how these things work in the real world. Donald Trump has it exactly right. The problem is you can't buy insurance across state lines.
Ann Coulter, we're going to be talking in depth with you just a little later here in the broadcast. Thanks for giving us your instant take on Donald Trump. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adios, America. The Trump polls show him, they're actually
killing.
He's doing exactly that. But we're seeing Governor Walker, we're seeing John Kasich, Ted Cruz. I mean, there are a group of people starting to huddle up there and create truly a top tier. Is he going to be able to maintain this position, in your judgment, with a significant lead?
Well, the ones you mentioned as huddling in the top really are kind of huddling at the bottom of the top tier. It's amazing what Trump is doing in the polls. It is not to be discounted. I keep seeing people say on TV, oh, well, at this point in other elections, Howard Dean was winning, or
it's the sort of
Herman
thing that people
Cain.
say when that's not their candidate at the top.
Well, I looked it up because I kind of vaguely remembered something like that. And very early on, like 2 years before an election, before anyone is announced, yes, there are wild card candidates. Once candidates have announced, these polls are totally meaningful. They may not pan out, but do not poo-poo these polls. And I went back and I looked at before the 2012 election to see what polls and when was Herman Cain and Michelle Bachmann and the rest. No, it would be one tiny little straw poll, and everyone was so excited because Romney, who had been dominating on all the polls, was losing one tiny straw poll of only Republican leaders in Iowa, for example. Cain, I think, did it in Florida. So this is very impressive, and I think there is absolutely no question that it is because of immigration. It is not just that he is straight talk. If it were straight talk, Chris Christie would be at the top. John McCain would be at the top.
What
it is because of his
Chris
position.
Christie getting into it with Rand Paul. By the way, Donald Trump saying today after Rand Paul insulted him again, you know, it's sort of what the people do in the consumer product business. Whoever the leader is, that's the one everyone else goes after and wants them to take notice.
That's true, but another thing they do is...
But anyway,
You
Trump
look at the
Trump
leader
said-
and you imitate them.
Right.
Imitate him, Republicans. They
Anyway,
won't.
Trump said, this is worth me finishing, I assure you, said he's headed up to here. I thought it was an interesting.
That is funny.
With Rand Paul.
Man, he has good insults.
So as we watch this, I mean, he's not, everyone's trying to, not everyone, but nearly every candidate's trying to insult him so they can get his notice so that he can put their name out there. And I think he's being more judicious in the way in which he responds.
Well, it's not just that. They're doing that so that they can get the donor money. I mean, we really are seeing with Trump a separation of the mice from the men here. It is immigration. Republicans have refused to respond to voters, as have Democrats, I might add, on the burning hatred of immigration in this country. Trump comes along and does it. And as I was saying, the other thing you do when one product is ahead is you imitate the iPhone. You imitate a late-night TV show. Why won't they imitate him? Why? Because they are controlled by the big donors. And that is obvious to people on the issue of immigration.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I hesitate to think, though, about having a field of billionaires who are beholden to no one.
Just say what the voters want.
That disturbs me. Bernie
But
Sanders,
they won't.
I want to turn quickly to Bernie Sanders and Clinton. Bernie Sanders, Senator Sanders, is now ahead in New Hampshire. She is not ahead in a caucus state or early primary state. I mean, that's got to be, they've got to be going nuts over there at the campaign headquarters.
Well, I wish Fox News would go a little easier on Hillary Clinton. She's the one we want to run against. Could you guys just back off? Because I feel like I'm living through this.
We barely mentioned.
I feel like this is deja vu again. We used to say, oh, the next president isn't going to be a guy named Barack Hussein Obama. Our next president could be Bernie Sanders if you people keep this up.
I respect your judgment in many areas, and politics certainly among them, but we are kind of beholden to inform our audience when a former Secretary of State is accused of sending top secret emails.
Oh, it doesn't have to lead the news. You don't have to keep chattering about it. We love Hillary. She's a terrible candidate. I want Donald Trump running against Hillary.
And so there you've heard it.